We are back from another break to come back and rank every Arsenal player's season so far. It's a very standard ranking of the tier list here. We've got an A to F system. We're doing 2 gradings today actually for you, so I hope you enjoy that. We've got A, B, C, D and F. It's quite simple. In terms of where my grades are this year, we've got media in B, we've got English in C, and then we've got philosophy flirting between D and E. So, yes. Let's get it started then. What player should we get it started with?
Let's start from goalkeeper, right?
Oh, do you want to start from goalkeeper? All right. Let's go. Should we, you know what? No, we're not going to go for Ramsdale. I know we're going to go for Matt Turner.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, I was actually thinking about this when you sent the plan through last night. I thought Matt Turner's a really interesting one. Because at the start of the season, or at the start of the pre-season rather, we played Cologne, I believe, in Germany, and he had not a bit of a mare, but in one of the goals he was probably a little bit to blame for, could have done better. And you would not believe the state of Arsenal Twitter. They just absolutely lost their shit. And I was like, guys, come on, it's a pre-season game. If you hadn't watched this game, you wouldn't even know it happened. So calm down, please. And I think that the expectation that Arsenal fans had of a second choice goalkeeper after last season when we had Bernd Leno all season, which is pretty unprecedented for any team to have a second goalkeeper as good as Bernd Leno. But yeah, I think he's actually been really, really good this season. I mean, as good as a backup goalkeeper can be. But when he's played in the limited time we had in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup and in the Europa League, he's really impressed. He came into the team with a lot of people being very aware that his passing was not his strong point, which is interesting that we signed him after Ramsdale, and we're very aware of what we wanted from a goalkeeper. But his actual shot stopping had a very high reputation coming from the MLS, and he's lived up to that. His shot stopping has been very good, and I wouldn't say he's really made any mistakes. Actually, having said that, maybe didn't look too sharp on Sporting Lisbon's first goal in the 2-2 before in the first leg before we got knocked out. But generally, as a backup goalkeeper, you can't ask for loads. You can't expect him to be at the same level as Ramsdale.
No.
He's only playing maybe 7-8 games a season.
Yeah.
So I think I'd give him a solid B.
B? Wow, okay. And he doesn't like Spurs either, so that helps. He doesn't sign Spurs shirts.
Yeah, exactly.
So that probably bumps him up because, yes, he doesn't like
you know
Spurs.
What? A+.
If that's all it takes, then, well, if that's all it takes, then...
you can put Carl Jenkinson up as a...
Exactly. I was going to say, do I hate Spurs? I probably hate Spurs more than I hate Arsenal. But that's just because it's Spurs and it's Spursy, and also...
Spurs, yeah.
Funny, isn't it? If you're still listening Spurs news from last week, I do apologise. You're a great guy. I might send that to him. Just to be like, yo, lads, can we get some beef going on here, please?
Have a rap battle. This track, bring back this track season.
Bring back, to be fair, after KSI's recent comments in a Sidemen video, it might happen anyway.
That's something we don't want to get into.
Yes, I was going to say, let's move on, because I'm not trying to get myself cancelled today. Let's move on.
Not in my first appearance here.
Please not. Let's move on to a man who cancelled himself and then came back from being cancelled, Granit Xhaka. That's good.
I do like that. If there was a definition of cancelled in the Arsenal fan base, it would be Xhaka is it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been excellent this season. Without talking too much about his redemption arc, this season specifically, he's been brilliant. Yeah, I think we've talked about him enough generally, so I'll just give him a rating of A.
A. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he deserves that.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right, let's move on from him to his defence midfield partner, Thomas Partey.
So he's an interesting one, definitely. His injury record is incredibly frustrating, but when he does play, he's brilliant. But I think one of my favourite, I'm not sure if it's a quote from someone specifically or just a saying, but one of the best abilities is availability, and he is not available very often when we need him to. But I tell you what, I can't give him, like, you can't go and give Thomas Partey a C or a D because he's been brilliant every time he's played. But I can't bring myself to give him an A because he's just, every single time he goes away from an international break, you're absolutely shitting yourself that he's not going to come back match fit.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time he isn't. He misses a few games. And I mean, it's been a lot better this season than it was last. But yeah, I think I have to give him a B.
A B, okay, fair enough. That is Thomas Partey. Yes, I'm just having to double check. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's move from Thomas Partey to another man who has been injured recently. I'm really going to keep going with these links until I run out. Gabriel Jesus.
I think probably quite a similar thing for him, to be fair. He's been brilliant when he's played, and he's been evolutionary. It's just been absolutely superb when he has played, and he's made such a difference to what that striker role is now for Arsenal. But yeah, obviously he's had a quite extended absence from the team, and it's hard. It is quite hard to say an A because of that, and also he did have quite a barren run in front of goal, despite of how well he played.
Yes.
And he is a number 9, and at the end of the day, your number 9 has to score goals, and he should have been scoring more goals than he did. He had his chances. It wasn't like he wasn't getting chances. But I find it hard to give him anything else other than a B, because, yeah, Arsenal have been quite good this season, so I think there might be quite a few A's and B's.
Okay, fair enough. I'm trying to think of another link now, and I'm really starting to struggle with these. Gabriel Jesus, where's the next link? Is there
another Gabriel, maybe?
You took it out. Genuinely was going to go for another Brazilian, but Gabriel's even better. What about the other? Oh well, you know what? Which Gabriel? You know what? Let's go for the one who's got a first name of Gabriel. I don't know if the centre back one does. No, his man is. We're going for Martinelli. Yeah, we're going for Martinelli, the one who's not. This is confusing. Please don't keep buying Gabriels.
Yeah.
In case you're listening, Edu.
Martinelli is an interesting one because if you'd asked me this a few months ago, I would have probably said B. But he's scored 6 in his last 7, I think. He's been absolutely superb over the last few weeks, and that is to no detriment of Trossard coming into the team. A lot of talk when Martinelli wasn't too sharp coming back from the World Cup was that he didn't suit playing with any Nketiah as well as he did Jesus. But since Trossard came into that false 9 role, plays it far more similarly than to Jesus than Nketiah did. He's looked back to his best like he did at the start of the season. And yeah, I think he's been really superb. I think he's got 13 goals this season, which is actually more goal contributions that he had in all of last season, and that's just goals. So yeah, it's been a massive increase in goal contributions this season, and he really has been brilliant. And I think maybe his creative side has been really understated because of I think Saka's maybe on like 10 assists this season. He's been superb. But his ex-assists is actually like he's really outperforming his ex-assists, whereas Martinelli has been really underperforming it. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah,
I know what you mean. Underperforming his XA.
He had something like 6 XA a few weeks ago, and he'd only had 2 assists, which just showed that. I think it was probably Gabriel Jesus on the end of those chances at the start of the season where he wasn't taking
possibly,
them. Yeah. But yeah, I think he's been superb, and I think an A would be fair.
An A would be fair. Well, there we go. An A for Gabriel Martinelli. Why have I made myself to do this? A link to Gabriel Martinelli. I'm not going to... You know what? We will do Gabriel Malgaches.
Magalhaes.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Gabriel. What are we saying about Gabriel's season?
incredibly underrated by not just some of the people in the fan base. I think a lot of people in the fan base will agree that he is a very good defender, but I think most people outside of Arsenal didn't rate him, because when you'd see the many highlights of Arsenal each week, and he is capable of making a little error coming into a goal, and I think people will remember him for that. But since that error he made against Fulham at the start of the season, where he gave it away to Mitrovic, he really hasn't put a foot wrong, and a lot of people will be surprised to hear that he's actually been a lot better than William Saliba this season.
Okay.
And all the talk of the town has been William Saliba. He's been and Saliba has been good, but you can tell he's 21. You know, you can tell that he's a little bit raw, and you can tell that Gabriel is 3 or 4 years older than him, and he's looked absolutely brilliant. He's so strong, he's so fast, he's a lot better with the ball than people give him credit for, just because of how, I think, big and probably a little bit more unnatural it looks to him, because of how big he is. Sometimes it looks like he's not that natural on the ball, but he is, and he's so clean with the ball at his feet. And yeah, I think very, very underrated, and he would be in my Premier League team for the season for sure. So I think an A would be what I'd give him.
An A, there we go for Gabriel, Mr. Not going to bother pronouncing his surname. Gabriel to Saliba. We'll touch on his other centre back partner. How has he done so far this season?
As I said, he's been very good. I'd say Gabriel has been better overall this season. But yeah, he's been superb. I think a lot of the worry about him at the start of the season, some were worried that he wouldn't sign his contract because his start to his Arsenal career has been very jumpy and quite erratic. I think it's been probably more overstated than what it would have been actually, like in terms of the relationship between Arteta and Saliba. There was a lot of talk about it in the media because, I mean, when he was doing superb in France, our defence was doing fairly poor, and everyone was saying, well, why has he been loaned out? But I think this season has proved exactly why he's been loaned out, because he has been absolutely superb. He's definitely had his moments that he hasn't looked too sharp on. Like, I mean, there was a lot of talk about when we played Brentford and Ivan Toney and William Saliba were involved in 12 duels, 12 duels, and Ivan Toney won 11 of them.
Wow.
Which I think, to be honest, speaks more to Ivan Toney than does William Saliba, because
he is incredible.
He is unreal. I'd love Arsenal to sign him in the summer, but I wouldn't bet on that.
But he might bet on it.
He probably will.
He'll be whacking a five
on him signing for bloody Wigan, you know. He's got that much better.
He'll be whacking a five on himself, going to all the big sides. Spread himself then, just in case, Ivan.
We do not condone betting here, just to say.
Especially not if you're a professional footballer.
Unless Daniel has a sponsorship with
No. Hey, if you're listening though, I will happily endorse anything. Maybe not anything. I will happily endorse most things. If you're coming out of Romania, Tate, I'm not going to be sponsored by you because I don't want to get cancelled. Anything else though, please drop me an email. I'm sure I'll respond because I do not have any life. Saliba, where are we putting him?
Considering I put Gabriel at A and I said he's not been as good, I'll give him a B.
A B, alright. There we go. 3 and A, 4 and B. Very top heavy tier list so far. Let's move from Gabriel. Why are you doing this, Daniel? Let's move from Gabriel to a man who is Jorginho Brazilian? I know he's Italian, but I swear there was rumours that he was Brazilian.
I think so.
Let's go from Gabriel to another Brazilian, Jorginho. But yeah, come on.
Okay.
Again, I'm really proud of myself.
That.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, don't check it just in case, please.
So Jorginho is an interesting one. Obviously, came in January, so there's less judging room.
Indeed.
But I think he has done his job very, very well. His job was to come in and do what Thomas Partey does for this team, at least from an attacking perspective, because I don't think it would be fair to expect Jorginho with his qualities to bring what Thomas Partey does from a defensive point of view. But I think with the panic within the Arsenal fan base when we didn't get Cancelo and we're talking about getting Jorginho on deadline day because of our history with signing Chelsea players like Willian. And Louise and Petr Cech.
Oh God, yeah.
It's not gone well,
no,
to say the least. And people feel quite burnt from that. But I think people have to realise it's a very different situation, and Jorginho is a serial winner. You know, he's won the Euros, he's won the Champions League, he's won. He hasn't won the Serie A with Napoli, but he was in a very good Napoli side. And yeah, he's a very good player, and he's came in and done very, very well. But I find it hard to give him an A because he's not really been a main man for Arsenal, but he's had some very good moments. So yeah, I think another B would be fair.
Another B. Sorry, E. Definitely not a E. No.
Sorry, I do assume we're going off like kind of school grading, right?
Yeah,
kind
we
of
are.
based off that.
We are,
because
yes.
I don't really like feel like any of these players deserve a C. Sorry, I know.
No, yeah, I know it's kind of harsh. Let's go for somebody that might deserve a C. Who deserves a C? Reece Nelson. He probably doesn't deserve a B, does he? I know he's popped up with a couple of decent goals, but has he done enough to deserve that B? Over to you, my friend. Oh, that was very TV-like.
Look, he has. No one expected him to have the impact he has had
no.
on his team, I don't think. But as you said, yeah, not everyone could go in B.
Yeah.
And there's also a reason people didn't think he was going to have that impact because, I mean, he hasn't gotten into the team pretty much all season until the last few months, and that has to be due to something. There has been there's been a few times where Arteta has been asked about him, and he's kind of answered with like almost a call to action to him, and saying like you got to almost like he's saying that he needs to work harder to get into the team. And as much as I would love to give Reece Nelson a B or an A, he's not been in the team very much, and I'll have to give him a C.
Okay.
And sorry, just while we're talking about Reece Nelson, I do want to bring this up because I want to bring this up to as many people as possible.
Where's this going?
When he first came into the team and he had his pre-season with Arsenal in Sydney in Australia, I rated him so much that I got his name on the back of my shirt in 2017.
Wow.
With the number 61 on it. And ever since then, I've been praying for him to become Arsenal's best ever player. Because that would be unreal to be able to show off his first ever Arsenal jersey from 2017. So I'm still praying for that. Yeah,
fair enough. I do feel compelled to tell you if we could get an F, that would be lovely for the thumbnail. If by any chance you wanted
I'll find a reason.
If by any chance you wanted to say like Saka, you're going into the F tier to make my thumbnail look better. I'm not expecting you to, but yeah. No, you know what? There might be some player on here you can put into the F tier, or I'll just have to create somebody. We'll find the under-9 goalkeeper who shipped like 23 goals this season, and they can go into the F tier. Let's move from Reece Nelson to the man he is competing with at right wing. We are still going Bukayo Saka.
F. No.
Yes, please. Yeah. No. Obviously not.
No. He's I mean, what else can be said about Saka? He's been superb once again, and he's been carrying us ever since we were about 15th in the league in 2020, and he's just stepped up to the plate, and for such a young man to be doing what he's doing. I know it sounds a bit silly me saying young man when I'm younger than him, but he's genuinely he's brilliant, and I think the last few seasons he's been great, but I think everyone else is starting to really take notice of him because he's leading us to something really meaningful now. And I do think, he's getting better and better each year, and it feels now that I was thinking about this the last few days. Saka feels like the difference between him this season and last season maybe is that although he's always been real hungry to prove himself, it feels like he's got like this fire inside him this season where he wants to be that guy. Like he wants to be that guy for Arsenal, the main guy, the main man, and I mean he has been.
Yeah, he has.
So,
it's obvious.
And I know I don't want to give up too many A's, but if there's someone that deserves an A in this team, it's Saka.
And you feel like his performances have really come good ever since that Euros final.
Yeah, I mean, the mentality on him, it's just unreal. Like the amount of abuse he received is it's obviously so unwelcomed and horrible. But he has just absolutely rose to the occasion. We needed a hero. He is the hero that Arsenal did not deserve, but we certainly needed at that point.
Yes. Moving from a hero that Arsenal deserved and needed to a guy who hasn't been a hero yet, but might at some point. Who am I going to disrespect here? Tomiyasu hasn't been a hero yet for you, I think is probably fair. Yeah, he hasn't.
It's been an interesting season for Tomiyasu because
Injuries.
Last season when we didn't have depth in those positions, in right back or in left back, he played every time we could get him on the pitch, even with play strapping everywhere, you know. As soon as he could get him on the pitch, he'd be on there. But this season, he hasn't been needed as much. I think the start of the season, he got injured right before the Crystal Palace game, and then Ben White came in and was superb. And I don't think anyone would have expected Ben White to have the season he has had at right back, and we will get on to him later, but I think that was to a detriment of Tomiyasu's game time. And maybe it's almost to the benefit of him, though, because if he was our only right back this season, and we're relying on him for fitness, as we've seen this season, and we've seen now that he's out to the end of the season, there'd probably be a lot more flack given to him about whether he's going to be the guy for us or not. But because we've had the depth to cover for him, it's been okay. He pretty much barely played in the Premier League until I think it was Liverpool away. Oh no, sorry, Liverpool home.
Okay. I was going to say Liverpool away is next.
No, that's this weekend. But yeah, Tomiyasu came in at left back, and everyone was a little bit surprised, but he was brilliant, and he played. He just put Mo Salah in his pocket, and it was excellent for a few weeks there. And then I think Zinchenko came back from injury, and there was a lot of talk when Tomiyasu was playing at left back, because obviously we've got Kieran Tierney at left back, and he wasn't playing. Zinchenko was injured. But I mean, Tomiyasu proved that he deserved to be there. He looks more of a natural fit almost.
Okay.
Than Kieran Tierney in that Zinchenko left back / right midfielder role.
Very strange role that Zinchenko plays, as we've covered.
Yeah, quite extraordinary. But,
indeed. Where does Tomiyasu go then?
I'd give him a C.
Okay. I will be completely honest with you. I was punching the air when you mentioned Zinchenko then, because it gives me the perfect chance to ask you, where does Zinchenko go on this tier list? We are still going, and I will do it.
Ooh. I think he has to go in A again.
He has to go in A again. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Zinchenko has been put in A yet, but he's obviously brilliant. I think there's loads more. We spoke about him quite a lot before. He's adding a new dimension to this side. He is the reason that we constantly keep teams under pressure. He's allowed Xhaka to push forward into his role, because Zinchenko sits where Xhaka used to, in that deep lying area. Just incredible.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much more to say. We've covered him so much. So, easily into the A tier. Another man who can play at attacking midfield, it's Emile Smith-Rowe. Where does Smith-Rowe go?
Tell you what, this will probably be the lowest ranking.
Is this going to be... Ooh, I was expecting it to be someone else, but okay.
I'm not sure. It's a lot of this is not down to him. He's just injuries this season has just really been harsh on him, and he's not really been able to get going because he's came back during a time where Arsenal desperately need every point they can get, and we've actually got a lot of players that can play in the roles that he can play. And it's led to a lot of Arsenal fans maybe pondering about his future, but I think they're a little bit short-sighted with that. I think after a pre-season coming up this summer, I think Arteta really loves him, and the team really, really love him, and he's got so many good qualities that he hasn't been able to show off this season. But yeah, it's quite hard to give him a high rating because he's barely played.
Okay.
So I don't think it would be fair to give him an F either, though.
Gutted. Go on, give us an F. If he's going to be your worst, put it in an F. Go on.
Go on then, yeah.
Go on, come on.
F,
Let's go.
ML Smith Rowe.
Now, he wasn't the guy.
Now it means he's going to have a superb redemption arc.
Exactly.
He's going to go from F to A.
Yeah, well, I don't want that because if you could sell him to us this summer for 30 million, that'd be lovely. He wasn't the man I was expecting to put into F. The guy who I was expecting was a January signing, Jakub Kiwior. Yeah, because I don't know how to pronounce his name, and the fact he's not played that much, I was kind of thinking he might be your get out of jail free card. But no, you've gone for Smith Rowe.
I think it would be incredibly harsh to say he's been F, but yes.
It is for Smith Rowe as well, isn't it?
Played.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Smith Rowe.
I've just scammed you there, but we're sticking with it.
It's alright. There's not loads to talk about with Kiwior. We brought him in January. Pretty much just came in as a very much a backup signing for this season. And then, he may develop into a very good left-footed centre-half.
Indeed.
Arteta loves his left-footed centre-halves.
And they cost a lot.
Yes, they do. But, I think there's not much to talk about with him there. He may be one for the future, but he's not going to... I think I'll give him a D. A
D. There we go. We've got everyone in every tier, and that just makes it look so much better.
An E?
No, I haven't got an E tier. The tier list comes with 5, and I didn't add an extra one. Yeah, we've just gone D to F. I just didn't add an E tier. Probably could. Do you want me to add an E tier? I can add an E tier if you want me to. Because then you'll have to put someone in that. And
I'm not having that.
Yeah,
I've had too many good players this season.
I bet it feels good. Speaking about one of those good players, let's go for Aaron Ramsdale. Where would you put Ramsdale? The man that goes on lots of YouTubers' podcasts. The man who has slated Chris MD. The man who has... what hasn't this man done? The man who has been on Ben Foster's podcast. The man who gave a lot of stick to our fan base. Cheers, Aaron. Where do you put Aaron Ramsdale?
So some people would say he is like the future Ben Foster.
Would they?
Maybe it's just me, but I can see him being a very Ben Foster-esque person at the end of his career with a YouTube channel and probably a TikTok or something like that. Doing some dances.
Yeah, just don't do a Mason Mount.
Maybe not Mason Mount.
Maybe not.
But he's been great this season. I think probably quite underrated.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a few moments where he's not looked great because pardon me there.
Don't worry.
He's had his moments as quite an erratic goalkeeper, like most goalkeepers are these days that play with the ball out of their feet. They're pretty nuts generally. They have some real crazy moments. You see Ederson sometimes dribbling on the halfway line. He's had his fair share of moments that put your heart in your mouth, but generally he's been really good. But also I wouldn't say he's been worthy of an A maybe, because I think that would be pretty much only Alisson is pretty much worthy of getting an A as a goalkeeper in the league. Maybe not this season. He's had a fair share of...
I was going to say Ederson possibly up there.
I think that Ederson...
Danny Ward.
Good, but I think if you listen to... Danny Ward class.
Yep.
But I think interesting with Ederson, don't want to talk about too much, but a lot of City fans actually don't really rate him.
I know it's a weird one, isn't it?
is poor.
It is.
Statistically. But I think I'd give Ramsdale a B.
A Ramsdale a B. Fair enough. Ederson, yeah, I've just put him in C there. Yeah, Ederson's a weird one because he'd be a great midfielder.
Oh, he would be.
He would be an excellent 8.
Starting midfield for Leicester this season.
Well, to be fair, Tielemans is leaving, who we'll probably talk about later. So if you want to come in and be our Tielemans replacement, Ederson, I'm sure whoever our next manager is going to be a really, really exciting appointment. It definitely doesn't look like it's going to be Rafa Benitez at the moment.
What do you think about Tielemans this season? Because
well,
all the talk is about him and Arsenal at the summer.
Well, he's in the next segment, so I might have to. We might have to leave him to that one. So if you're watching this in a video form, if the video's not out on the channel yet, click that bell notification so you get notified whenever I post the video. Speaking of somebody who has their notifications turned on for Daily Talks Football, don't fact check it. Fabio Vieira. Seems like a Daniel Talks Football.
Yeah,
viewer.
I thought so.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah,
I mean, like this easier screams Daniel Talks Football.
And the funny thing is, we didn't even know each other then. Yeah, screams it.
Yeah. This signing was absolutely unexpected from the Arsenal fan base. I think I was literally just jumping into bed at about 1 a.m. in New Zealand, and I just went on Twitter to have I always have my 5-minute scroll through Twitter before I go to bed because I'm addicted to my phone like everyone else is.
Yep.
And then I suddenly see some random reporter from Portugal reporting that Arsenal have completed a signing for Fabio Vieira, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, who's this reporter? Like, who? I don't believe it." But also to go out on a limb and say they have signed him suggests that it probably is true. And then about half an hour later, Fabrizio Romano confirmed it, and everyone was going absolutely nuts. You know, like it's so exciting when a signing happens absolutely out of the blue.
Yeah,
you go on and look at the clips of him on YouTube, and he had about 14 assists from about 15 starts last season in Portugal, which
was mental, wasn't it?
is unreal, and he took his chances very well. And even this season, when he has played, he's often left the pitch with an assist or a goal. Like he always seems to leave the pitch with some stats going in his favour when he gets a good amount of minutes in the game. So I think because of how great some of his highlights looked on YouTube, some people had really high expectations for him.
He hasn't quite lived up,
and he probably hasn't lived up to it just about yet. But I also think if you look at the stature of him, he looks like he probably needs to get in the gym over the summer. He's quite thin.
He is.
He's very Bruno Fernandes-esque in the type of player he is in terms of he step pads and in the best way possible. He seems to get goals and assists almost every time he
I know what you mean.
Plays 60-70 minutes, and sometimes he doesn't even play that well and he still gets the assists of the goals. But yeah, I think we can expect a lot more of him next season, or at least hopefully.
Okay.
With a full pre-season under his belt, because when he actually got here, although he got there quite early in the pre-season, he was injured the entire time, which is not ideal at all. And yeah, I think this season though, I'm gonna have to give him a D.
A D? Oh, okay. I was wondering if you were going to go with C, but no, a D. Lovely. Come on, think of something better than that one, because I really can't say that to remain semi-child friendly. And I'm sure I don't need to tell you what the line is, considering you've just said the letter D.
Yes.
Yeah. Another guy who has a D in his name, Rob Holding. Another joker could have gone to do with a D there, to do with Holding. Where does Rob Holding rank, to move on from jokes to do with Holding Ds? Yes. Yeah, moving on. Very smooth. Very smooth.
Yes. If we were rating his hairline, it'd been A, but
indeed,
I can't do that. But I think it has to come into as a part of it, to be honest.
It does genuinely. You move him up a tier because of that.
I think his heading ability, it gives that a little bit more of a length in his head.
It does. He's got a smaller forward.
6'1" to 6'3".
It means he's got a smaller forward as well.
Yes, of course. But yeah, on a serious note, he has been pretty good. When he's came into the team, he's done very well as a backup centre back. There's only so much you can ask of him. He's been very good. I don't think there's loads to talk about with Rob Holding, so I'm just going to go ahead and give him a standard C.
Fair enough. That is definitely fair enough. I've already prepared this one. Another man who has a lot of hair, Mohamed El Neni.
Well, similar to him, he's done pretty well when he came in, and then went and got himself injured for the rest of the season, which is brilliant. But no, he is so underrated. Like, he's not. I don't think he's a top class player, and I think most people would agree with that. But maybe if you've got a few Egyptian listeners, they might think he is world class.
Don't think I do.
But yeah, he's plays a real understated role in the team, and he is just so grateful to be at Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think when he went on loan to Besiktas a couple seasons ago, he was asked in an interview about what he wants to do with his Arsenal future, and he said, "Well, Arsenal's my family. You know, it doesn't matter if what role I play. I just want to be there." And it's so admirable because there's no reason to get rid of someone like that, because if he's happy to play 3 or 4 games a season off the bench, or maybe even start a couple Europa League games, or maybe next season Champions League games, then I mean, what's the point of getting rid of him? And he's clearly not a problem in the dressing room or anything. You can't imagine him being a big ego or anything like that. No. Yeah, obviously it's a shame with his injury, so I'll probably have to give him a D. But,
a D, right, fair enough.
Just because he's been injured, so you can't really argue with it. But yeah, big fan.
Yes, of course. Another man who you must be a big fan of, 4 to go after this, Martin Odegaard.
I was really waiting for this name to come up. Because
that's why I've saved it.
Just excellent. He is unreal. And I tell you what, I was one of the people when, I think it was at the start of last season, when the talk was James Maddison or Odegaard. I was James Maddison. I was the one that
great
James
player
Maddison to come to Arsenal. And
great
he's a very good player.
He is.
Very good player, no doubt. And I'm sure if there's anyone that's going to attest to that, it's you.
Yes.
But
be careful what you say now, because I will back Maddison to the hills. We are dead and buried if it's not for him.
I'm not going to talk about Maddison. But I'm just going to say I think we made the right decision for us, because Odegaard, you can't even argue, he's just been unreal, and he's our captain now as well at his young age. Once again, I'm younger than him, but
Maddison would have cost double, so yes, I will say that Odegaard was the better option, because Maddison would have cost double. Yeah, fair enough.
He's coming from the Premier League, but yeah,
and we're
Odegaard's
Leicester.
been brilliant. Yes, exactly. But yeah, Odegaard's been brilliant. He's added even more goals to his game than last season. He still missed a few very big chances this season. He could still be on quite a few more. But yeah, unreal. I think a lot of people talk about Thomas Partey because of his injury record, what would happen if he wasn't in the team, etc. But now that Jorginho's in the team, or in the squad, I think Odegaard would probably be, alongside Saka, our biggest loss if he was to come out of the team. So, yeah, there's no doubt you cannot not give him an A.
Yeah, so. I already dragged him there. I had a feeling where it was going.
Imagine how much no, F.
Well, great.
Out of nowhere.
Title and thumbnail material.
Odegaard and F, yeah. Maybe if I was like a Troops or something like that.
Yeah, I wonder how I'm going to have to try and twist Smith Rowe being an F to Saka being an F by some point. They're both done through the academy. Can I somehow Arsenal Youth Academy product in F out of performances this season? I haven't decided I'm going to do it yet, but I will find a way. Speaking about people who find a way. It's getting really, really hard now. Ben White.
Benny Blanco, as many of the Arsenal fans call him.
Indeed.
Which I actually had an interesting conversation about someone about this on Twitter. I thought it was about the producer Benny Blanco, but it turns out I don't know my Spanish, and Blanco actually means white in Spanish. So
you learn something new every day.
Entendre.
Indeed.
Might be a bit of a double entendre with that.
Maybe, quite possibly.
But yeah, I don't think anyone expected him to have this type of season. Maybe they thought he would have a good season, but I don't think anyone thought he'd be Arsenal's superb right back all season. Yeah, he's been great, and he just fits in seamlessly to that role. I actually remember when we signed him at the start of last season that some people thought that might be the role he plays for us at right back. Because I think at the time we hadn't signed Tomiyasu. And
No, okay.
yeah, so I think at that time some people were predicting that he would play there, and it didn't happen really very much last season. Besides when Tomiyasu would get injured and Rob Holding would come in, he'd go to the right hand side. I think a lot of people forget that he did do that. Yeah, Rob Holding, beautiful hairline. Just have to stick that in.
Indeed.
But yeah, he's been superb, and his accommodations with Odegaard and Saka on that side have been really noticeable. It's been a really important trio in the team. They've just seamlessly worked together, and yeah, especially the last few weeks, he's really came into his own again. He probably had a couple, he had about 2 games where I think he played. It was when we played Man United and Brentford, and against United in the first half, he got pretty ruined by Rashford, and I think that was at the peak of Rashford's form, and he just didn't play at his best. And I think he got yellow carded and he came off for Tomiyasu.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
Tomiyasu's been brilliant. So it's like, like when you replace Ben White for Tomiyasu, you're not losing a load. Like it's more of a case of we just have superb depth there, so we can afford to take him off.
Indeed.
And then I think maybe we played Brentford after that, and he wasn't too sharp as well. I'm not sure, but after that, besides those 2 games, he's been brilliant. And sorry to do this to you again, but it's got to be an A.
Another A. Wow. I remember Ben White fits very well into this elbow tactic you play.
The what, sorry?
The elbow. Have you heard of the Arsenal elbow tactic? Or am I going to enlighten you into something that you haven't heard of?
Yes, I'd love to hear this.
So, basically, it's your defence is in the shape of an elbow. I learned this through James Lawrence Hawkeye. If it's incorrect, please go and give him all the stick. So basically, your back 4 turns into a back 3. That's the simplest way to put it. Ben White drops in as a centre-back, or Tomiyasu, because they're both also centre-backs. And then Zinchenko, basically, obviously, as we've already spoken about, doesn't stay as the left-back. So, basically, your 3 centre-backs are your biceps, and then Zinchenko's kind of just, moved out. And just gone into another. Yeah, does that make sense? Please say that makes sense.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Thank God for that.
I'm not sure I massively agree. I mean, I see what he means, but I think Ben White's probably more. I know, maybe last season he was more of a inverted centre half, but he gets forward quite a lot this season. Not in the same way as Zinchenko. But yeah, I see what he means by it. But yeah. Maybe slightly inaccurate.
Fair enough. Okay, let's move from. A, yep, got that. Let's move from one man who has elbows to another man who has elbows.
Oh, brilliant transition. My favourite one.
Really? I've given up. Which man? Let's go for Trossard. He's got elbows.
I did not know he had elbows until you said that, So.
You learn something new every day.
Of course. Trossard. It's been unreal. And I have a feeling you might have to start dragging this in early to a certain A.
Wow.
Because unreal. You know what? We'll change it up. We'll give him a B because he's only scored 1 goal.
Okay.
But 7 assists is also incredible for someone who's just signed in January. I think he's the maybe the 2nd most open play assists in the league since he's joined. Oh, not even since he's joined, I think. It's just overall. And that's just for Arsenal. 7 assists. Which is unreal, obviously.
Very good.
And he came in and pretty much made us forget about Jesus for a month or so. And yeah, he's brought up the performances of Martinelli and Saka, and he's genuinely, if you just came to watch the Premier League and you watch an Arsenal game and saw Trossard, you would not think he was a new signing at all.
No.
I think that's probably the biggest compliment you can give to him. He just fitted in seamlessly. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, sorry, I think I've been on this podcast for a while now, so started to
mate, it's fine, it's 10:15. You don't need to speak to me about lack of English skills. Okay, B, fair enough. Come on, Dan, you're two left. From one man who has hair to another man who has hair, Kieran Tierney.
Wow, these transitions are just stunning.
There's only one
Kieran
more left.
Tierney. No, fair enough. He's one of my favourite players, but it's just not been a great season for him overall. He hasn't really done much wrong, but Zinchenko's just came in and been unreal, and he's a very traditional left back, Tierney.
He is.
He is the most traditional left back you'll see. You could put him back in the 1980s and he'd play in the exact same way and he wouldn't look out of place. Having said that, he actually is quite technically sound. He's just a little bit erratic at times. He's willing to absolutely boot the ball into Rose as soon as the ball gets near our goal, which part of me loves it, but also very different to Zinchenko, who probably takes about 20 touches and nutmegs 3 players before he gets rid of it. So, yeah, no, he has played well when he has opportunities, but the opportunities have been rare. But obviously, yeah, you can't go give him an Arabi who's barely played as much as I want to. But I think for himself, I don't think he would rate it as a good season, so I think I'd have to give him a D.
A D, right. One left. How do I link Kieran Tierney to Eddie Nketiah?
I'm trying to think who it was, actually.
Yeah, it's Big Eddie. Eddie sounds like it could be a name from Scotland, and Kieran Tierney came from Scotland. So, because Eddie sounds like it's a name that could possibly maybe have some level of Scottish origin, what do you think of Eddie Nketiah? God, that was hard.
That one was actually quite good, to be fair.
Was it? Thank you.
Maybe that says a lot about what I was saying before. Maybe I was being a little bit sarcastic.
The elbows is my favourite.
The elbow was brilliant. But yeah, Nketiah, I think because of the job that Florian Balogun is doing in League One, Eddie Nketiah is always brought up in that conversation, and it really frustrated me the other day. I did a post about like a quote from Balogun and just kind of congratulating him on how well he's done, and almost 50% of the comments were about Nketiah, and people couldn't praise Balogun without saying, "Oh, we should sell Nketiah and use him." Well, it's like, well, we're going to be in the Champions League next season, and we're going to need a lot of players, so maybe just wait and let Arteta make that decision. It's not your job. Just realise that Nketiah has actually done a really good job for us. He's got 9 goals this season as a backup striker, which is, you can't really ask much more than that. And he came into the team when Jesus was injured, and a lot of people were really, really worried about that impact, because Jesus had been brilliant for us, and Nketiah has had very little experience as a starting striker for Arsenal, although he did very well when he came in at the end of last season, rather. But yeah, he came in and scored 2 goals against Man United, and scored a goal against Brighton, a goal against West Ham. Maybe I'm missing another one or two, but yeah, he's been really good as a backup striker, but also there was a reason he did come out of the team, because it probably stopped working as well in the last few games that he was starting, and Trossard came in and was superb. But yeah, he's been good, and I'd have to give him a B.
A B. There we go. That is probably the longest tier list ever done on the channel. This video is just short of 50 minutes. So I hope everybody at home has enjoyed this one. I certainly have. We'll take another short break here before we come back to speak about some transfer targets.